Evil science and magic buddies.
Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast presents Evil Science and Magic Buddies, the show within the show, the conspiracy of the conspiracy, the Crypto Roundtable. I am Mark Storrs, and I still currently smell like fireworks, gunpowder, hot dogs, hamburgers, and beers. And with me, as always, is
Chris
and
Rob Morphy, who reeks of American pride.
Awesome. Yes, this is Jill. We are recording this on July 5th, and the last 2 days have just been the awesomest celebration ever of just quarantining with the family, blowing off fireworks, and watching the entire town partake in a shock and awe campaign of fireworks that I have never seen in my entire life.
Oh, no.
It was spectacular.
People, not only are we living in a world where fireworks, I think, were just legalized in our region like last year, but people are literally blowing off every fucking quarantine frustration they've ever had, any angst. It's been Lebanon 86, really.
Yeah,
it's been fucking nuts, but kind of awesome too.
It is, but thank you all so very much for joining us. Top of the show, patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out, $5 is a shout out, and some bonus audio. Thank you to everyone over there that supports us. It means the world to us. And Robert, we have some shout outs that you're going to do, and then we'll be getting started.
Sounds great. We're going to start with, and I'm going to fuck this up immediately, Bryden Grenades or Grennies or Grens, perhaps.
Bryden, thank you very much.
Bryden, thank you. And if you've got the right pronunciation, you know the deal. We're going to move on to James Hamilton. Thank you, James. Anton Bjorkman, fucking phenomenal. Thank you, Anton.
Nice.
A blue second gen MR2 drifting around a Japanese mountain. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you dropped $1 for that, you got fucking at least 99 cents worth. Fucking great. Thank you, Blue Second Gen, etc.
I hope that is on their state ID that they have to present when they buy cigarettes or fireworks.
Oh, to legally change your name to that would be great. And it would be great if the best part was if your last name was Mountain. And everything else,
definitely.
That's just your first fucking name.
Yeah.
All right, so I got Sebastian Patterson. Thank you so very much, Sebastian. Now, we have a very special, very rarely do we do a secondary shout-out. You only get the secondary shout-out if we fuck your name up or if you make us laugh. So the secondary shout-out is going to Alpha Kenny Buddy. Do you guys get the joke? Do you get the joke? Alpha Kenny Buddy. Say it fast.
Alpha Kenny Buddy.
There you go. Did you get it?
Okay. Took me a second.
I have to admit, I'm remedial at this. Like,
it's not blatantly
took me a good
obvious.
5 minutes to get.
Alpha Kenny Buddy. Yeah. Do you hear it?
No, I'm reading the name. I just don't get it. I'm slow. I'm old and slow.
A listener on Twitter pointed this out to us because we're so fucking not on the ball. Alpha Kenny Buddy sounds like I'll fuck anybody.
Oh, well, fair enough.
When that was pointed out to me, I swear to God, I died for about a good 15 minutes laughing my balls off that we said it and we totally fucking missed it, which you totally missed it again, which is even better. So I thought that it was a phenomenal little Easter egg that we all missed, and it made, you know what? It's been a hard week and it made my day.
It is phenomenal. There's other things this week that made our fucking day, and I think we should broach that before we go any further.
Oh, yes. This week, holy shit, we posted up a piece of art from our buddy, Rafael Sarmento. Holy
Rafael,
shit.
You are the man. You are the Chesnick. That's my new phrase. That means you are the absolute maximum shit. You are full-on Chesnick right now. But honestly, dude, I saw this and I thought, this is like every 80s movie poster I grew up loving. This is the cartoon I would have died to watch. This is our Scooby-Doo moment. He fucking knocked it so far out of the park with one of the coolest renditions of fucking the Mothman I have ever seen. brilliant interpretations of us, and fucking Jeff riding back shotgun. It is just, it delighted me to no end. Raphael, thank you so fucking much. You are indeed the Chesnick.
Yeah, man, he totally killed it. Like, I was blown the fuck away when he sent it. I couldn't believe it. Like, it literally took me. I was like, holy shit, this is like real. So yeah, Raphael, thank you so very much. Also, check his work out. He is available on Instagram at Raph Sarmento. Also, too, he has a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Raph Sarmento. Definitely check out his work. Yeah, it's fucking and beyond impressive. Like, the shit he does is so tight. It's so good. And yeah, man, thank you so very much. And keep your eyes on the social medias for some links, because we are working on getting some prints and possibly some other stuff done. So yeah, hopefully, if everything works out, that's going to be some merch in the future. So Raphael, thank you again, good sir. And yeah, again, check him out on the Instas and the Patreons, and I think he's on Facebook as well too. So yeah, check it out. Thank you.
Best.
And
honestly, thank you so much.
Totally. So yeah, let's do it, man. We got listener stories part 7. Rob, get creepy, get spooky, let me know what to be afraid of. Sound good?
I will do my best to illustrate what terrors you need be wary of this day. And this is unique because we're going to be doing a single story. I think last week we broke down 3, so we get to jump back and forth, and this is pretty harrowing and pretty intense. And so we're just going to dedicate the full pod to it, and let's just take it away.
All right.
I wanted to share my story for listener stories, though honestly, I am not sure if this is at all usable. It is, I assure you. I don't know if it was a dream or the whimsy of a child. Nice reference. But it felt very real as a child and through my teen years. Now as an adult, I've spent a lot of time trying to convince myself it was only just a dream. But there is, and probably always will be, part of me that will always wonder. That's great. That's haunting and horrible and wonderful and true. That is to me the true whimsy of a child, not the deception, but that idea of this is so real, and maybe it is, and maybe it just is imprinted on me deeply. But either way, let's get into this. The first incident occurred sometime in 1984 or 1985. I was 5 years old and in kindergarten. I have 2 older siblings, 13 and 14 at the time. My parents worked opposite shifts day and night and rarely got to go out together, whether it was for fun or errands. But when they did leave us alone, we had to stay in their bedroom with the doors locked. Well, that's hyper safe. That's smart, though.
Yeah.
Stranger danger. But in the bedroom, like, I remember being able to roam the house, but I don't know this neighborhood. I don't know how things are going. Parents' safety first. I'm not questioning the parents here. My parents' bedroom was an add-on on the back of the house and had its own bathroom. So fancy, added in parentheses, truly. TV, phone, and a door that exited directly outside to the carport. The idea was that we could lock the bedroom door to the rest of the house and be somewhat hidden, as none of the bedroom windows faced the street. We were not allowed to leave the bedroom and definitely not allowed to answer the door. Again, good protocols.
Okay,
I have no
sense.
idea. No, it is. I mean, you never know who's going to fucking pop up. And 85, that was like when people first got truly paranoid of the stranger, and with good reason.
Yeah.
I have no idea what day of the week or what time of the day it was, but I always assumed it was early evening, dark, but not bedtime. My siblings were watching TV, and due to the age gap, I was generally left out of whatever they were doing. I was on the floor on the opposite side of the room as they were, under the bed with a blanket on me, pretending that I was perfectly camouflaged as long as I laid still. Surely I'm not the only kid who ever did that, right? And no, you are not, for the record.
I mean,
I do it now.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
still do it.
No, every blanket to me is like that fucking invisibility cloak from the Harry Potter series. It's like, you do not see this gigantic man under a fucking comforter on a couch because I'm not moving and I'm under a fucking blanket. Perfect camouflage.
I've actually gone into Christopher's house and he's just been like on his recliner with a blanket over him.
Oh, 100%.
Like just not like not moving. Like he's like Michael Myers or something.
You didn't see me until I moved.
It's true. I didn't. I actually just left. I was like, I'm not bringing you to the store today.
There are times,
Sorry.
Chris, and I'm not here to burst the bubble. There are times when I see you like that, and you know what? I just ignore you on purpose because I know it means a lot to you to be invisible at that moment. Sounds like
You son of a bitch.
God damn it!
Where did he
But
go?
you know what? But it might have worked on me in like some deep psychological way. So maybe that's the true camouflage. Not that you really are invisible, but that you convinced me to be quiet about it and leave. Ergo,
So
it worked.
that's just how Chris
How-
continues his emotional abuse on us. Is just
How do
by
you know it
acting
was
like
actually me,
he's
though?
not there.
Maybe it wasn't me.
It could be a
No,
fake
you're
Chris.
right. I mean, it could be the doppelcarno. I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know that at all. If you just
Fair
left,
enough.
then it could have been.
You're right. I take it back. You completely duped me.
There you go.
I've been handed. I'm eating crow. But back to the individual at hand. She goes on to say, the blanket was open just enough that I could peek out and breathe. That's essential. You need the breathing. It's like the snorkel to reality. That makes sense.
There you go.
In my line of sight was the door that led to the carport and a floor lamp. I remember that the electricity flickered a bit. Oh, Christ. The TV turned off and the lamp flickered but turned back on. That is always the prelude to some fucking ill shit. If not,
Yep.
at least you're tense for it. Before my siblings could turn the TV back on, someone knocked at the door.
No.
It was absolutely known in all caps that we are not allowed to open the door. And I knew that even as a 5-year-old, for whatever reason, my oldest sibling decided to answer, and I was so scared. Not because someone was knocking, but because I didn't want to get into trouble. So I decided to stay under my blanket and not move. What I remember after the knocking is both siblings in the doorway with 2 large men on the other side. It was incredibly bright outside, which for a long time made me think it was daytime. What I could see past everyone in the doorway was, to my 5-year-old brain, a Ferris wheel in the street, bright lights spinning in a circle. The ever-loving fuck.
Holy shit. Okay.
The traveling Ferris wheel, my favorite.
Yeah, no, it's the Italian fest. You know, stopping outside, half block
Yeah.
party. It was going hard. You were too young. Your parents made you. They were actually, their date was at the fair on your street, and you guys got stuck inside. No fried dough for you. But Jesus,
Traveling
I mean,
Italian
that's
fest.
haunting. The men in the doorway were tall enough to fill the doorway to the top, bald, and had large black sunglasses on. They both wore black suits. All right.
Whoa.
So this is definitely a permutation of a Men in Black scenario. I mean, that's the first instinct. Though bald isn't always the most common feature, the sunglasses, the dark suit, but filling a door frame, I mean, I know everyone looks bigger when you're small. I get that. And maybe sometimes your imagination extends it a little in the years that pass. But, I mean, you know when someone's genuinely fucking big. And so I think she's interpreting what's going on. But this is where shit gets all fucked up. They each had a syringe and injected something into both of my siblings.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy shit. I didn't even read this. I'm not going to lie. I didn't read the entire thing because I wanted to be surprised. Oh, fuck. All right.
What? Surprise.
Yeah.
Enjoy
the
your
carnies
shot.
at the Italian fest are real fucking assholes.
Oh,
Jesus
well
Christ.
Oh,
dressed.
God.
Oh, fuck. All right. Shit. This is getting real. All right. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I have no recollection of a struggle, or even of the men leaving or the door closing. It jumps to my siblings on the floor, crying, unable to move, telling me to call for help. Jesus,
Oh, my God.
Jiminy. So when you have a gap, obviously, again, sometimes when you're a kid, your memory is like a Russian from the fucking 1920s edited your mind and you just jump cut. But still, I mean, you might think that this is somehow a missing time incident. I mean, it's not beyond the
but-
pale.
I couldn't imagine being a kid and having this memory. Holy fuck.
No, my
Yeah, it's
empathy
pretty-
goes out so much to her right now.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I mean,
Well,
you
hopefully
think
it
you
gets
see
better.
the Ferris wheel, you're like, Good times. Syringe, less so. Siblings weeping on the floor, begging for help, and you're fucking
Bad.
5?
Fucking bad.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, let's hope
I
it gets
was
better.
crying, and I didn't know what to do, so I went to the phone and called a kid in my kindergarten class because her phone number was on a list next to the phone. I did not have it memorized or anything. So you don't know what to do? You call the one phone number next to the phone.
Yeah.
God.
Man.
I distinctly remember calmly asking to speak to her as if nothing was wrong, then crying and talking in a panic once she answered. So the parents are, it's like, is Diane there? And then Diane's like, oh my God! And you're fucking off and understandably terrified because you're a fucking kid.
And these are kindergartners. Like
I know, and they're dealing with this.
Dude, my daughter's a kindergartner. Oh God! All right.
She was scared too. I know. When you put your kids in that position, it becomes all the more harrowing. She was scared too and told me to call 911. Good advice. That is entirely where this memory stops. Again, is it just the child mind, or is something more nefarious going on? It's scary.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay.
I don't have any other memories of what happened after this point, but I still remember that girl's name, what she looked like, and that her family moved away soon after this. Probably unrelated, but the paranoid mind goes places, and mine's one of them. It's a small town, and I know the family that moved into the house that they moved out of. I don't remember ever asking anyone about this or even consciously thinking about it. I do know that I dreamt about this regularly for years after. Yeah, it's going to be embedded, so it just gets regurgitated by the subconscious as the shit is wont to do, and it's fucking terrifying.
All right.
I have always been afraid of the dark and afraid to sleep alone, so I always slept with a sibling or in my parents' bed. My mom worked nights, so I would sleep in the bed with my dad. I know this sounds weird to people, but it was never anything bad or nefarious. I was just really immature, or in parentheses with a question mark, traumatized and terrified of the dark. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why. Jesus.
When I had to sleep on my own, like when my mom had days off, I would sleep with the lights on in my room and in the surrounding rooms and hallways so that there was no darkness anywhere. And yes, I would always get in trouble for leaving the lights on. Worth it, though. I totally know. As a kid who had fucking, I don't know if you call them night terrors, but just an overactive imagination and maybe interactions with interdimensional hellspawn. Who knows? The broad spectrum perspective is wide. But fucking, I know that bright lights at least give you the illusion of being able to perceive everything that's around you, or maybe somehow it really does banish shit that can use shadows as portals. We'll leave that discussion for another day, but I don't blame her at fucking all.
No, totally understandable.
If I couldn't make it through the night on my own, I would go into my parents' room and sleep on the floor. After this incident, I started having very rare and sporadic sleep paralysis episodes, and what I assumed was sleepwalking. It only happened when I had to sleep on my own. I'd fall asleep in my bed and wake up under the kitchen table, for example. The fuck?
Huh, weird. Okay.
The next related incident happened again in my parents' bedroom. I don't remember how old I was, but I was still in elementary school. It was after 11 p.m. as my mom had already gone to work and well past when I should have been asleep or at least attempting to sleep. At the time, my dad would read the paper while sitting up in bed before he went to sleep. I imagine it was a small luxury to have some quiet time and space, so he laid the paper fully open on top of the bed while he read the smaller sections. And of course, during his tiny bit of quote-unquote me time, I'm on the other side of the bed doing whatever dumb kid thing I was doing to disturb his peace and quiet. It's a kid's job.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
I was laying on top of the covers, annoying my dad, when something came into the room through the doorway from the rest of the house. So not the carport, just the home.
Right.
Yeah.
At first, I thought it was a person, Oh, that's a terrible way to begin. You know, once you hear this, at first I thought it was a person. It's never going to have a happy ending after that.
No,
That's
it's not going to be.
end.
It's not going to be a Poppins. It's not going to be a Poppins. No.
And it was a birthday cake on 2 legs, and it said "Eat me," and everything was great. No, it's never that.
No.
At first I thought it was a person, but it was too tall. Tall enough that it hunched over to fit into the room. So more than 8 feet tall. At this point,
No.
I'm going to reference us and our listeners to one of the illustrations that was sent with this piece. I probably should have done it earlier because there was also an illustration of the bald men filling the doorway, and actually a really excellent illustration. The witness claimed not to, to have done a poor job representing it, but I disagree wholeheartedly. But this image of this stooped over, light bulb sort of headed figure that seemed to be clad in, neck to ankle in black is so haunting. We'll definitely post this where people can see it. It's so disturbing that I just think I'm looking at a doorway right now to my office, and I just think if something like that came in, I would lose my fuck sucking shit.
Yeah, it's over. The we is over. Like, I'm out. I'm done. All right. Well, yeah, we'll get permission and post these up, but yeah, definitely we'll put these out there because they are creepy as fucking is. Yeah, they're creepy. So
yeah, they absolutely are. Let's make this even a little ickier. It felt very spider-like to me. Long, spindly limbs. The face and hands were so white, and the body was black and shiny. I don't remember the texture. Rubber, leather, lycra, ? But it seemed like a bodysuit as opposed to skin, and it had a shine or sheen to it. I don't know why. It should bother me. Like full body, lycra is not something that necessarily haunts my dreams, but in this context, it just made my belly flip-flop a little. It's icky.
Yeah, because if it has that sheen automatically for some reason, I'm thinking like moist or like just like a weird like I don't know why I'm going to like the fucking witch from Legend, but for some reason that's what I'm thinking of, even though she's not in a tight lycra suit because that'd be disgusting. But that's just where my head's at right now.
No, so that's the thing. Something like this spins off your imagination to the worst parts of the adjectives. It's part of the beauty and the hauntingness of things like accounts like this.
Yeah, or maybe like a Cenobite, like the heavier set Cenobite there. Yeah, where he's like a little bit, he's kind of like sweaty. He's a little sweaty.
Butterball, yes.
Butterball with his glasses. Yeah, he's kind of like just sweaty and he like, okay. All right, anyway, enough of my fucking thing.
Back to our spindly, spidery, way too tall fuck all.
Fuck.
The face seemed human to me, but I don't have any clear, specific memory at all. It's just a blank face in my mind. Again, it had a syringe in its hand. Criminals. And it was telling me to sleep.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I actually had to pause there and cover my mouth. I freaked out and started trying to get under the covers. Of course, invisibility. But in my panic, I ended up flinging the newspaper everywhere.
Oh, boy.
My dad didn't see anything.
Oh, fuck. The entire time I'm thinking, like, what's her dad going to do?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, no, he's seeing what the Mets are doing. He's caught up in some shit in the paper. He's focusing on it. Either he's not looking up or worse yet. Because there's nothing worse when you're a kid. Anytime, I guess, even as an adult, but as a kid, you feel particularly traumatized and impotent because of this. When you sense something and the adults in the room are not only unaware, but blissfully so and probably condescending to you about what it is you think you see. And they're like, oh, it's a dream, it's the whimsy, it's the whatever, and you're just like, it's a fucking nightmare. And this is even worse because it's got a fucking needle.
Yeah. Weird. So she's perceiving it, but her father has no idea it's even there. That's weird. Okay.
He did get mad that I was flipping his newspapers around.
Understandable.
I don't remember anything after that. I also don't remember if I asked him about it. For the most part, my dad babied me, but he was also a pretty no-nonsense kind of guy that didn't have time for dumb kid questions. A dad. Your shit is stupid. I love you to pieces, but fuck off. I'm doing this thing right now. quote my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a father, I do indulge many questions from my kids. I give them at least a good portion of my day until it gets late at night. And then I'm like, guys, I'm fucking can't answer any more of your stupid shit. I'm sorry. I love you and you're gorgeous and you make everything in my life worth it. But you've got to stop asking me questions about shit.
Yeah.
You just
Shut
got to
the fuck
stop.
up.
In all fairness to you, though, you probably answer more questions in one day than my dad did in the course of a decade.
Yeah, and then my wife has questions.
Well,
and then the kids have questions about her questions. And then I don't know what to do, man. I just, like today, I won't get into it, but my wife's like, would you want to live in Florida? I'm like, yes, motherfucker, I would. It's warm. And there's Disney. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Wow. But there's also Florida there. So, there's
whatever. I'll
pros
be
and
happy
cons.
to move there and sweat my
I'm
entire
just
life.
picking. I've had balls of fun in Florida. But
good. Anyway.
As an example, I'm going to continue now. I would watch the scary episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, Robert Stack, 2 exclamation points, hell yes, get freaked out and ask him about it. This would always end with him getting mad that I was wasting his time, so I learned not to bug him about stuff like that. It makes sense.
Dad protocol.
I know. It does remind me. I know I've told this story before. I'm saying, like, when I watched The Day After with my family, as was required by the Roman Catholic school I attended, so you could see how evil, godless Russians were going to murder us all in an atomic holocaust. And my dad was like, yeah, it'd never come to this. I'd put a gun to my head and take out anyone who didn't want to suffer this before. I'm like, Dad, that is not comforting me. You don't even own a gun, so what are you going to do? Staple gun us into a sweet oblivion before the bomb?
He's telling you he's going to have a murder-suicide plan.
I mean, my dad was the best. He was a good man, don't get me wrong, but he was the worst. He could take any horrible situation and just amp it the fuck up and by way of trying to make it better all the time because he was a dad.
Did he pat you on your head and say, don't worry, son, I'm going to shoot your sister first?
The bullet will get you before the bomb, Bobby. Don't worry about it.
That way, Bobby, you can watch the life drain from her eyes before I kill your mother.
Yeah, no, I'll be like, I'm going to be looking in the mirror trying to existential myself out of this fucking reality. So, yeah, you deal with that, Dad.
All right. Anyway, your father
never
God
owned
rest
a
his
gun,
soul.
by the way. Never. He would have taken like a meat mallet or something. Jesus Christ.
God. All
he was a
right,
decent man, not a homicidal maniac.
R.I.P. Your father was awesome. R.I.P.
A saint with horrible people skills.
Man.
All right. We are moving on with the next phase of her life and her harrowing tales. As a teenager, nearing high school graduation, age 17, I began having night terrors and sleep paralysis pretty regularly. Fuck. I'd see what I thought were owls in my windows, shapes with big dark eyes, staring at me, and I wouldn't be able to move. That is just infested, like literally soaked in lore. Not only are owls, obviously, as we all know, associated with like extraterrestrials, like grays, glazed grays, you know how I say it, but like in the sense that your memory reinterprets it because they do things to like taint and corrupt and obfuscate their presence and whatnot. But also there's a lot of paranormal lore, obviously, surrounding owls as well. So obviously, during a sleep paralysis episode, part of it might be your imagination because we really don't know. I mean, scientists think they know. I know neurologists think they know, and it's a physiological thing with the actual brain, not so much psychological, but like what's actually happening. But I do think that there's a deeper thing happening there, something that I think we'll definitely broach because sometime we're going to have to do full-on sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I think the way that I heard it explained was that if your mind can't understand what you're seeing, it tries to interpret it for you. And for some reason, in a lot of cases, it gets interpreted as an owl.
So, yeah, we're just talking about remembering something you see. Not having anything to do with sleep paralysis, but remembering something you see that your mind, like you say, just can't quite comprehend. I mean, but then again, what makes this a little bit more interesting is that her mind obviously could comprehend doorway filling, bald-headed, sunglass-wearing syringe carriers. It could also comprehend a slick lycra-wearing giant.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it would be in the window that would make her go, Hedwig.
Yeah, weird.
But Anyway, creepy. I'd fight to wake up to the relief that it was just a dream. Then something would happen to let me know I wasn't really awake, like being dragged off the bed. Well, shit. I mean, that's like the worst of movies. And, you know, this happens to me a lot, too, where I like wake up maybe just a smidge, and maybe I see a kid sleeping on my belly, or I see some shit going on. I'm like, okay, that's what's happening. And then it gets integrated in my dream where I wake up, and it's exactly kind of what I saw before, but there's like cyborgs in the backyard digging a pool, but using lasers to do it, and weird other shit going, and there's like pet centipedes crawling up the wall, but they have leashes, just dumb shit. And then it takes you a minute to go, oh, no, this isn't, I know the kitten was really there, but this shit's bullshit. That is not how you dig a pool. I fucking know that. And then I go through that cycle like 3 or 4 times, so I know that feeling, and it's fucking not cool.
Yeah, wow. All right, well.
Getting dragged off the bed is worse, though.
You are a haunted man. All right.
Oh, God. It goes deep. Then I'd fight to wake up, rinse, and repeat. Oh, my God, do I identify with you?
Jesus.
During this time, the dream about the 2 men in the doorway returned, but was changed from tall, bald men in suits and dark glasses to typical gray-style aliens, but much taller with black bodysuits similar to the Thing from the newspaper experience.
Okay.
So maybe what she perceived as bald men with syringes might have been extraterrestrials in black bodysuits with some sort of instrument that they used to incapacitate and clearly harm the kid. I mean, her siblings were writhing in pain, begging for help. So that experience, whatever happened during the missing time, be it 5 minutes or them being transported back to a ship or fuck all knows what, could not have been pleasant.
Yeah, maybe that's just how her mind, because she, at being a kindergartner, she has 0 point of reference for what she's seeing. So if just she interprets it as tall, bald men with glasses, that's true.
Or
it is true. That's common. That's not an uncommon, occurrence, allegedly, with alien abductions. So
not at all.
All right.
Continuing, the Ferris wheel was no longer a Ferris wheel, but what could only be described as a flying disc. Everything else in my dream stayed the same.
Man, it's almost like she saw like the original version of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was saying.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe.
No, Chris is right, and elaborate on that, because part of me thinks one option is that her subconscious filtered out the whatever the clouding mechanism was in her mind that made her think it was dudes in a Ferris wheel. But there are other options. What are you thinking, Chris?
It's kind of the opposite. Like the more she experienced stuff, the more it got twisted into something else that was more alien-like.
So it might have been a truly traumatic experience involving perhaps human beings with shaved heads and suits, and who knows, maybe a helicopter landing with lights on the rotors or something. I mean, I know that's also very weird, but who knows what? And who knows what her mom did as a night job, maybe in some government lab. I mean, I'm definitely just completely, I'm not only pissing in the wind, I'm fucking full on fountain. I'm like one of those octopuses in the backyard. But that having been said, and as she's trying to filter it through, it becomes more paranormal or at least ugological. I'm not saying it's what I think it is, but I'm trying to expand on what you're suggesting, that it becomes more paranormal in the when it's locked into the confines of your imagination and subconscious.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And we all know, obviously, memory is not necessarily the most reliable thing, and we do have a tendency to twist and turn shit to our own liking or to our own horror in some cases. So I can totally see what Chris is saying.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really think it's consciously; it's subconsciously, and it takes years.
Oh, absolutely.
I have memories of my school, because I went to Catholic school, and the more time that goes by when I think about them, because I had a lot of dreams of that school too. There's things that I remember that I don't know if they were real or not, or if they were part of the dreams I've had of that place.
I know exactly what you're saying. I have reinterpreted the geography of places from my childhood in a way that I absolutely know, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure could not have been that way. Like this staircase didn't narrow to a triangular door. It wouldn't do it. But my mind says, fuck yeah, it did. It's totally what it did.
Right.
It narrowed, it turned, it went to a triangle door, and it was just a classroom, but that's how it worked. But it doesn't. So I know what Chris is saying, but again, conversely, the imagination can also do this. Take something that is, like Mark was saying earlier, absolutely unfathomable and beyond the pale, beyond the scope of what we are at least supposed to believe is, consensus reality. And it tries to narrow it down into, this is carnival lights. This is weird bald dudes with big sunglasses and suits, instead of extraterrestrial things with big black eyes that could be reinterpreted as sunglasses. And the illustration that she has too also reflects that, where you could see it could go either way. So I absolutely agree with Chris's supposition that it could be a twisted, dark version of a undeniably traumatic and truly mysterious and bizarre encounter, or it could be, like, say, the other way, just trying to blue velvet a very paranormal experience. So it's just a crazy dude with a fucking a gas mask with fucking, whatever Dennis Hopper was huffing. And so I can go either way, but it's dark no matter what happened, because unless it is completely manufactured. And I don't believe that. I know we all know memory is a shit show, like Mark just said, but I don't think this is a complete fabrication. This really seems like... Oh, yeah. I mean, this really seems like there's at least a seed of something that just grew into this kind of nightmarish scenario that understandably haunted her for fucking years to come.
Yeah, there's definitely it's definitely built on something for sure. Like, even being a kindergartner,
that first experience is the key one, I think.
Totally. But the giant, though, oof, boy, that's fucking a whole other thing.
No, yeah, the giant sucks, but...
Oh, the giant sucks the most.
Yeah, the giant's fucking worse.
Because you can't wrap your head around... Like, we could go back and forth all day, two guys, and, hey, tall people can... my nephew's 6'8", almost, like 6'7.5". He could look like he's filling a door frame, especially to a 5-year-old child. Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about it. But... Totally. But no, stooping to get in, I mean, that's like hyper shack. That's beyond the norm of what anyone should be able to do. And the fact that she's seeing it, and the worst part for me too, I mean, well, the syringes are always haunting and terrible. Like dental tools, they're just fucking a bad scene. But telling her to go to sleep with a face she can't remember, looming like something that has to stoop so they can stand in a room and not hit the ceiling can. And then freaking the fuck out, as anyone would, trying to get away under the protection of blankets, because all kids know blankets are shields and invisibility cloaks. And then Dad's just getting pissed because, he's trying to read Beetle Bailey or whatever the fuck he's doing. And it's like, come on. And understandable, because he doesn't see it. He just sees a kick up. But we're not done. There is one last incident.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
During this period of night terrors, sleep paralysis, and renewed childhood memories / nightmares, I had a bizarre dream that I was standing in my bedroom with one floor lamp on. So just a stand-up lamp. It took me a second. What's a floor lamp? Why would you put a lamp on the floor? I'm an idiot.
Oh, my God.
I know. I just fucking totally brain farted. I apologize to all our listeners that they have to deal with me being this stupid.
It's a ground rug.
Oh, ceiling fan? What? No. It flickered a few times, and that was the entire dream. It would not have been anything memorable except for my friend calling me the next morning to tell me she had the strangest dream the night before. She was sitting on her bed, watching her bedside lamp flicker. She said it was unlike anything she had ever dreamed and didn't understand why it felt so pointed and meaningful. I had not told her about my dream the night before.
Whoa.
And so that's it. She said, that's it. Other weird and ghostly stuff happened, but that may be for another time. I'd love to get the full story, but I get that these are the peaks of high strangeness. And
well, and that's the key here too, is high strangeness. If she's if they're saying that ghostly stuff was happening during this time as well, we would definitely like to know about that, because this is one of those weird things where, whether it's ufology based or paranormal based, like, it's not an uncommon occurrence to have a bunch of really fucking weird shit happening all at once. It's my favorite part of everything. It's like the Indrid Cold getting involved with the Mothman, plus, like, the silver flyer, and then all the weird poltergeist shit happening, all while the Mothman is dropping bridges left and right. Well, one bridge, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the weird high strangeness stuff though that really fucking gets my interest, because it's not just like it ain't just a Bigfoot in the backyard with the M80s. You got the fucking Nessies and the ghosts and the fucking Jersey Devils and all kinds of shit going on. So
the clusterfuckery of paranormal is part of what I love too. We all love the weird shit. Obviously, that's why we gravitate towards the stories we gravitate towards. Usually, just not the normal thing. But yes, any Bigfoot sighting is made better by the UFO behind it. And that's improved the more by all the books flying off your grandma's shelf while you're in her backyard looking at said Bigfoot and UFO. And this, like I say, this clusterfuck of paranormal, like you say, the Mothman, it's so many things where it just seems to be this confluence of things that even paranormal investigators want to separate. And I fell into that camp for the longest time. Obviously, I've mostly been associated with cryptozoology. That's been my jam. And I love it. I love monsters, second only to family, friends, and fucking good beer and a few other things. But that having been said, the older I get, the more you read about these things. It's like, it's not fair to separate it. Paranormal is want to be like, okay, this is a poltergeist or haunting phenomenon. This is ufological. Right. That means it's aliens, be it interdimensional or interplanetary in technology, or this is cryptozoological, undiscovered animals, when all too often this shit comes together. And that's granted when you get the kooks and the flakes and the fuck-alls, and I get that. But it's also, if that's what's really happening, you have to try to, and when scientists try to assess this based on just the evidence at hand and don't try to parse it out and don't try to, they get labeled as crackpots, or like Veli and Keel, they go off and think what we're studying here, because I'm not ignoring the evidence, is something beyond just exploratory technology from another planet or a dead person trying to communicate. It's something bigger and stranger and much more interlaced. It's a tapestry of fucking weird and not just these things. And so I totally agree with you, Mark. I love the fucking weird shit, the explosively fucking strange shit. And this case in particular, while it seems to lean decidedly towards the ufological, and there's not a lot, we don't have the full story yet, so maybe some of these other things like the poltergeist things might bring more light to it. But it's either that, and this is probably the most disturbing thing. I know you asked what we think, and I don't really have all my thoughts formed yet, or a really terrifying human experience with individuals taking serious advantage of kids and messing with their fucking minds for purposes maybe not nefarious, though it seems to be, that I can't even wrap my fucking head around.
Yeah, if we're dealing strictly terrestrial and we're not going to go off with the UFOs and whatnot, this is some really fucking twisted shit. Like,
it's dark. Yeah, but how would
dark.
the dad not have seen someone just walk into the bedroom?
Well, I guess what I'm referencing is the first incident with the two tall, bald individuals with glasses in the doorway with the syringes. I guess if we are speaking strictly like fucking terrible human based, then if that's just some god awful fucking terrible traumatic experience that she had as a kid when her parents were gone. If this is just some way that her mind is fucking warping it as she gets older, and then she sees this giant thing come in the bedroom, God, it's fucking awful. Like, it's just terrible. It's terrifying. But if that's somehow her mind just warping it and turning it into something that it's not, taking an actual experience that did happen and then turning it into something else, is as she gets older, almost like a not like a break, but like a stressing point or something in her psyche that just fucking snaps, and she sees this thing in the fucking doorway. Like, obviously it affected her deeply for years. She went on to say that she couldn't even sleep alone, and then when she did, she had lights on. So if she's sitting there with her father and for some reason something sparks a memory, and all of a sudden she sees this thing, So that's fucking goddamn. That's terrifying.
That would be heinous as shit. But not to interrupt you, maybe you're going to go here, but I am definitely more inclined, maybe it's just because I'm open to it, to think that she did see these things, and then we have to assess what is it that can manifest itself in a way that it only, not even just because she's a child, but that it can focus its ability to seem corporeal just on an individual while someone else remains totally oblivious. Is that extraterrestrial? Is that paranormal? I mean, it's not like aliens have never been known to. I mean, how many abductions do you hear about from bedrooms, particularly, where the spouse or the lover or the family or whoever was next to you slept soundly while you were being levitated through the ceiling, which miraculously disappeared into like a saucer with lights?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we covered that case, as a matter of fact.
And multiple, too, beyond. I mean, there's scads of cases that are just, or someone in a car, someone that just, so they seem to be able to suppress the observational and maybe even the consciousness in the sense that they can render you unconscious of certain individuals while, and this doesn't make sense to me either, just at a bigger spectrum. I'm not going to try to digress too much. If you really are an extraterrestrial species fully just intent on seeing what we're about, doing biological and maybe even psychological tests, why would you not just clear the mind of the person, take them wherever you got to do your sweet lab, do whatever tests, put the fucking tag in there so you can track them when they're, rutting or fucking foraging or whatever people and animals fucking do. Why would you make them know you and look at you and get scared to the point where the aliens, there's always that one that's there. It's like, relax, everything's chill, don't worry. Like the fucking human resources alien that's always just trying to fucking make things cool. What's the point of doing that at all if it's just scientific?
I mean, I'm assuming it's to calm the person, but
they could just render them unconscious, so they don't have to remember any of it.
Why go through the whole pre thing?
Why go through all the mental fucking turmoil?
Distress.
I mean, so if we're gonna hit this from a strictly ufology abduction, well, not necessarily an abduction, but interaction,
and possibly abduction, because she draws a blank from the syringes and her siblings to them writhing on the floor. That's a black spot. That could very easily be an abduction.
Then with the giant coming back, the giant gray coming back with if we're going to assume that they're grays, coming back with the syringe, telling her to go to bed. So if you are dealing with some sort of abduction that begins with them getting hit with a syringe, being knocked out, and then being taken and whatever happens, I mean, if this is something where they're coming back and visiting these people just to check up on them or to continue whatever horrible fucking shit they're doing.
Why would they have had to have knocked the first time, and how did he get in the second time?
Right.
If he didn't have to knock, why bother?
Right.
Yeah, it's not like they're vampires and needed to be invited in. Chris makes a solid point.
What was that's a small thing, because in the story, like, clearly these kids knew not to answer the fucking door, and she's like, for whatever reason, one of her older siblings opened the door. Right? Like, why?
Interesting.
Chris is absolutely right. That struck me too, man. I mean, and I'm not going to like usurp what you're saying. I forgot to even mention it earlier when it struck me. It's like, they know, as was emphasized in her accounting, you do not, under any circumstances, capitalized, open this door. So was there some sort of psychological impetus or some sort of telepathic instruction?
Right. Was her sibling compelled to open the door?
Or maybe they said something through the door she couldn't hear, so it was maybe somebody that she thought she knew.
I mean, I know that this person's not in contact with any of their family anymore, but I would be really, really curious to see exactly if or what any type of recollection the siblings have of this.
Sure, that would be fascinating. Yeah. And it would be, maybe they'd be interested, maybe they wouldn't, maybe they've suppressed it. A lot of these things happen. But another thing I want to point out is interesting is, like, even though she was young and didn't remember the day, time, or week, she did remember that there was problems with the electricity. I think the TV turned off, as I recall. Lamps flickered. Those fancy new floor lamps that I just got perplexed by. And as the TV's dark and the electricity goes, and there's apparently something spinning and lit outside, there's a knock on the fucking door. So it seems like it's something that can affect the environment in exactly the same way so many UFO accounts, the car dies. Like it's like it's got to be magnetic or something similar to it, because it's just like the power goes, radio, everything. Now, it's not just like it stalls.
What's interesting too here, but this is going to remain unposted for privacy reasons. We do have a Google Street View here of the door, the bedroom window, and then the light where this would actually happen. So if you look at where this is a fairly residential area. You can see the line of sight exactly to where this ship would be. or
Yes.
whatever this thing would be. Whatever this is a standard sized street. So whatever this thing is that's
it's a
there,
residential neighborhood. It's like
this is not an enormous area, and there's literally
you're right.
there's a carport and a car right across the way. Like, so you're talking that is probably maybe 20 feet from the house, 30 feet from the house, given the driveway.
Yeah.
And probably the same, maybe 40 to the next house right there. Plus there's that tree. So whatever landed right there, that would definitely be seen by other people in the area. And if you look further down the photo, though, there's even more people down. There's even more.
Well, there's like a
area.
shopping plaza or something. I'm not
That
sure
looks like
exactly
a plaza
what.
or something right there.
Yeah, but so if you look down there, this is not an area that's secluded. So if something was to actually be there, well, whatever was there, that she'd witnessed this carousel or Ferris wheel, it would definitely be known. Now, granted, you got to, there's obviously this is 83, 84 development and whatnot. Regardless, this is not in the middle of nowhere though. This is definitely a residential area.
Yeah, it's
in
not
a
like,
small town.
Yeah.
But
Well, Chris, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
No, she says it looked like a Ferris wheel, but that also doesn't mean necessarily it's a Ferris wheel size.
No,
It looks like
it
a
no,
Ferris wheel.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying the lights like that would be like a fire truck being parked there with its lights on. People are going to see it. There's no way that you're not going to see it.
You're absolutely right, but you're also talking about a paradox that influences a lot of other ufological incidents in the sense that people claim to have been abducted from skyscrapers in New York City. Of course they're surrounded by people. 100, if not 1,000 people should see spinning lights and spectacles. So part of why skeptics just poo-poo it all is they're like, well, no one could see it. Just the same way they poo-poo the idea that, well, you can't traverse these great distances because we all know the speed of light is the limit of blah, 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 which to me is all fucking jackass because, again, you not even just a Neanderthal. If you gave fucking Isaac Newton an iPhone, he wouldn't know what to fucking do with it. So technology can improve and shit can happen. And they might find a way, they might have long since discovered a way to either A, suppress the observational abilities of people around that they do not want to see this thing, regardless of the time of day, though that seems like it'd be big and time consuming, but who the fuck knows? It might be very simple for them. Or more interestingly, and it's a ufological thing that's very controversial and a lot of people don't like it, and I would even include myself in that, but that it is a truly Jungian psychological phenomenon where you're getting abducted and you're interacting with these creatures, but they're on a level or a dimension where this interaction is happening, but it's mostly in your mind, or if it's not in your mind, if it's actually happening to your body, you are the only one that can see them.
It's one of my favorite theories, dude. It's one
haunting.
of my favorite theories, dude. The UFO of the mind. Yeah, we've talked about Chris's mind UFOs before. Like he's full of them up there. He's just got a lot of them floating around.
He's got a noggin full of saucers. I know.
It is an interesting theory though, because there is sort of some credibility behind it in the Jungian field of psychology that it is some sort of deep rooted psychological process that's happening, that you're being contacted by these beings, which also does play into the fact that her father didn't see the giant gray alien type with the syringe in the room.
This also opens
witness it.
The real possibility, the not necessarily probable possibility, but the possibility that this thing did come in and did inject her and did do whatever it did, and either Dad was deadened to it, so he just focused on the 3 words he was reading at that moment or whatever, and was just locked in his moment. And when she reappeared, she didn't have a memory of it like so many abductees don't, and she's freaking the fuck out. But it's really the post-traumatic aftermath of the incident rather than the beginning of it, and for some reason it's scooted.
Yeah. Again, I think that could all, though, be attributed to some weird psychological,
But psychological is broad spectrum. I mean, do you mean psychological in that it's literally happening in your head, as in delusional?
I think from what I gather
telepathic?
From the theory, what I gather is that they're actually contacting you through your mind. And it's a whole experience that it's a full body experience that they're sort of portraying through you. So it is some weird Jungian shit that just they're not actually landing. It's just all in your head. But it is happening 100% because it is. I mean, there's more than enough people that have these experiences that can attribute it to this, because that would make sense as to why no one else is experiencing it. Although her recollection of her siblings is that they're on the floor crying.
Oh yeah,
and that she definitely called that girl. She remembers it, and she called the girl. So there's a logical step A, B, and C right there. You've got the door, you've got that happening, the kids freaking out, her calling. That's all real life. But again, if this is something that's manifesting through your psyche, holy shit, that's fucking terrifying, because you're never safe. No, I'd almost be better. I would rather think about nuts and bolts, because at least you can fucking throw a punch. That's just me. I get a little feisty.
No, you're right. I mean, it's much easier to psychologically deal with a corporeal event, because they're creatures. Yeah. They have an agenda, whatever it may be. So maybe it's shady as shit. Maybe it's legitimate scientific. They build things with a technology. Maybe it's 3D printing, so that you got no rivets. Who knows what it is? And they come here and they're doing whatever the fuck they're doing, and it just seems weird because we're not advanced enough to get it. As terrifying and implausible as that is, at least it's easier to wrap your fucking head around than weird interdimensional psycho demons that fucking get into your fucking mind and maybe they're doing the exact same. Maybe it's everything I described. They're just experimenting and whatever, and don't have any fucking like nefarious intent, but the way they do it, and the way it's so adverse to our instincts about the sovereignty of the psyche. It's our fucking mind. You know, you have no fucking business. It's not just fucking stand your ground, or this is my yard and my house. That's good enough. This is my fucking shit. There's a fucking don't tread on me flag in your brain.
Oh my God,
my mind palace,
away from me.
Well, yeah.
I'll let you in if I want you in. You don't get to fucking just be there with syringes and 8 feet tall and fucking around with your goddamn fucking new wave rock outfit from 1982. I don't fucking need this.
Chris, what do you think? Yeah, Chris, what do you think about the whole psychological angle of the UFO abductions?
I don't know. I'm not really into the mind UFO like you are.
It's not your jam.
It's really not my fucking jam.
You know, man, I'm just not into the mind UFO like you are.
But I think, I mean, considering a lot of the cases that we do follow, that we've followed over the years and covered, I'm sure that you can draw some parallels to like, all right, I could see how this could be something that's a psychological manifestation and not necessarily a nuts and bolts. But then that kind of takes out the whole visitor aspect of it, because you're not getting the visitor from Lanulos, and you're really, not getting.
It does not do that at all. It means you're getting visitors not from necessarily other planets, though not necessarily not either. Right. You're getting visitors, but they're not arriving in their like fucking Jetsons car. They're they're crawling in your mind hole and doing whatever the fuck they want.
Right, which would put into question people seeing UFOs in the skies, unless, of course, they are beaming themselves into your mind holes from those vehicles that are in the skies. Oh, they're like, it's like when you're watching like YouTube on your phone and you fucking Chromecast it to your TV, but they're fucking doing it to your psyche. Oh, it's fucking terrifying.
I love your analogies, by the way. It's funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to live in that world.
No,
and I don't.
Right.
But what if it is the world, though? I mean, that's
well,
if it is the world and they're constantly adjusting you to not know, then you don't know, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It's like Dark City, basically.
Why worry about it?
One of the things that blows my mind constantly. Go ahead, Chris. I'll get to this in a second.
No, I believe the first thing happened. I think most of that is true. Like I said, if you're 5 years old, I mean, I remember going to see Star Wars when I was 3. I remember just specific scenes in the movie. But I don't remember other parts of the movie. I remember the beginning scene, and I remember like something toward the end. And I could say, well, I don't know, I just blacked out, and I what. Did I get abducted during that movie? Because I don't remember it.
No, you're right. You're right. Memory has
you just don't remember.
I saw Star Wars when I was 5 at a drive-in, and I remember C-3PO and a land speeder. That's it. So you're right. It wasn't necessarily an abduction scenario. It's that I was fucking 5, and that's my memory of that moment. So I agree. That has to be factored in.
This is I just think this is the step one, man. If there was just like more stuff in here, you can maybe figure out the other stuff.
Right.
It's tough. That first one is really, I think the key here to that second one with her seeing it. I don't think it's a mind UFO or
Fair.
I don't know what it could be. There's no really, you can't really prove anything really at this point.
Are you saying kind of, Chris, and tell me if I'm paraphrasing wrong, that the first incident occurred and maybe just a really dark human interaction that gets misinterpreted or whatever, and that because the memories of these bald, black clad things are in there, that it might have become distorted and become something else in the other incident, where that might be more either imaginative or hallucination or whatever. Are you suggesting something like that? I'm just trying to feel it out.
I'm saying it's definitely possible that could happen, because your brain does work that way, and your brain doesn't even necessarily. We were talking about like stuff you can't comprehend, and your mind kind of puts this image. It doesn't even have to be stuff you can't comprehend. You can look at very simple illusions on YouTube of a dot, and then you look at another dot, and that dot just fucking goes away.
You're absolutely right.
So
there's optical illusions,
it doesn't
there's
have
psychological. You're right.
Yeah, totally.
Your brains
you're
are fucked up. They just are.
right.
But even though that first point isn't even necessarily not paranormal, there could be aspects to it. It's just, how do you pick apart what really happened and what did not happen?
Right.
There's no way to pick that apart.
The other interesting thing, though, I think with this is that where she I believe she was sleep paralysis, and she experienced the entire event again, except that it was definitely grays.
Like, you know what it is? It's like a great, not
Which
even
is
great.
weird.
It's like a flashback in a movie. Like, that rarely happens in life, where all of a sudden, so many times screenwriters just use this caveat, like you're sleeping, and all of a sudden you're reliving it, and then you wake up gasping and sweat and, fists clenching the sheets. And that does not happen in life very often. But every now and again, I guess it can. And it seems like she experienced like, oh no, this is the shit that really went down. That's how I saw it, but this is what fucking happened.
Well, she interpreted it one way as a 5-year-old, but then when she was older, 17, and experiencing sleep paralysis, she interpreted it a different way, which could be, I think we talked about this earlier, it could go either way, where, okay, she's just transposing what she knows about aliens and grays onto this. This is kind of like a pop culture phenomenon. Obviously, I'm actually the same age, so I remember being 17 and, in the whole pop culture explosion with like X-Files and all kinds of shit. So that was definitely in the zeitgeist pretty heavy.
It was.
Or conversely, yes, she originally thought that it was people, but then it turned out, nope, it was grays.
You're right. You could go skeptically hardcore.
Yeah.
Where like you say, it's the flavor of the moment, and you've learned things since you've become a kid, and you reinterpret them. That's possible. You could also go with the repressed memory finally exploding, the thing that was repressed because you did not want to deal with it. It could be any kind of just very practical trauma, or it could be something very bizarre, or it could be, as I think Chris was indicating a minute ago, and this makes it even worse and more befuddling, some bizarre permutation in between, where there are paranormal aspects, but our minds are bizarre things. Like, it's amazing we can remember anything or interpret anything or have any consensus opinion on a fucking single movie, because we are all just these wet machines that, basically have some of the same protocols, but we interpret things so vastly differently. It's nightmarish and fascinating and wonderful all at once. So there's really the possibility that crazy shit legitimately happened to her, and there was this 8-foot tall fucking thing that for some reason she could only see and put her back to sleep, or tried to, and yet still your mind, because these are genuinely traumatic events, they get etched into the folds of your brain, and that becomes like a thing that you reinterpret and relive, and not necessarily photographically, because I don't even know if I believe in a photographic memory. I certainly think people have great heads for figures and can remember situations much better than others, but the idea of a true, genuine, like your eyes are video cameras and you can relive it, I don't know I don't know, or I've never even heard of it. Even the most super genius having that ability. We always are rewriting our own movies. We're always redirecting the past, sometimes better, sometimes worse, but almost never authentically. And that's why I think it's great when you have friends, you come together and you compare notes. But even then, there's still weird shit. But that still doesn't mean that there isn't a core of truly bizarre truth. And I think what I take away from this more than anything else is a lot of empathy for this lady, because this is something to live through that is fucking hard. And my heart really goes out to her.
Yeah, this is just fucking terrifying. Like, Jesus Christ, it's heartbreaking. I mean, God, whatever the fuck happened, Jesus Christ.
It's too much.
It's terrible.
No one should have these burdens. God. I mean, but that's the human condition. And we are flexible and we are endurance runners in our minds. Very few of us in life. But in our minds, we are designed to fucking take a beating. Yeah. You know, I survived the almost nuclear holocaust of 1983. I mean, we can all fucking get through our shit. Some much worse than others, granted. And so I got to say, I admire her for it. And whatever did happen, and I do think something fucking genuinely weird happened here. I know you haven't asked, what do you think yet, bro? But I'll just say what I think now. I think there is something strange. And I think the older I get and the more research I do, the more confused I am about the abduction paradigm. I actually had a point in my life when I was younger where I didn't believe in it at all. I thought there has to be a psychological reason. I felt horrible for these people, but I just thought it makes no sense. Like, yes, there's UFOs and certainly there's life in the universe. And I do think things visit us because I love all the esoteric stuff. But the gray phenomenon became so ubiquitous following communion. Some people took it as like an indication of its authenticity. I took it as like, it is truly, like you said earlier, the pop culture zeitgeist. But you know, you read more, you study, and maybe I'm changing in the wrong way, or maybe I'm more open-minded. I think there is something to it now, but I don't think it's as simple as just experimentation. I think there's something much more profound, probably psychologically distressing. I almost don't want to know if there is a real agenda. And I think it's more metaphysical than I ever wanted to think when I was younger. And if I had told this to me younger, I would have rolled my eyes at me harder than Chris is rolling his eyes right now.
Nice. I can definitely feel Chris'
I'm
eyes
not rolling them, but I'm not rolling.
Yeah, I definitely I'm definitely in the camp that something definitely fucking bizarre happened. And since I do love the theory of the UFO of the minds, I'm just going to blame the old UFO of the minds.
Makes sense.
And I just hope to God the fucking, you know, I just feel terrible. It's a heart-wrenching story.
Yeah, but
goddamn.
Like I say, people are adaptable. I pray that I hope you're listening right now, listener who was kind enough to share this. And, you know, I hope you found a way to put it in a place where you can, you know, have fun and do your things. And we all do. We all have to do something with the trauma of our lives. And
definitely.
And our, you know, hearts go out. And I do think something happened, and it's fascinating and horrible and terrifying, though maybe not with malicious intent. Like syringes and weirdos and fucking compelling you to open a door and being 8 foot tall are all goddamn. It's just
scary.
They seem ominous, but they're not necessary. I mean, your pediatric doctor seems like a fucking nightmare who's coming, but he's actually vaccinating you and he's doing right by you, even though you hate his mustache and all the memories you have of him coming at you with a needle.
Yeah, sure.
I had a doctor. I had a piece of glass in my hand, and I said, "I don't want a shot in my hand." He goes, "Oh, I promise I won't give you a shot in the hand." And then that fuckface gave me a shot in the arm, and he's like, "It's not in the hand." I've never forgotten that ER. That
he wasn't wrong.
Gross mint green, his shitbag mustache, the stuffed animals that were lining the fucking ceiling for some reason. And I'm like, you are a liar and a monster. But he got the glass out of my hand, and I'm okay.
Exactly.
You know what, Rob? You should have just dug that glass out of your own hand, and it wouldn't have been a problem.
I was like fucking 4, man.
Dad logic. That's all I gotta say.
Such a dad. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
exactly.
If you thought that was my memory of me being 24 at the doctors, I should have started it. It was pre-K.
Christopher, close us out. What do you got?
There's nothing. It's either. It could all be. I don't know, man. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we're all in agreement that something tragic and traumatic happened. Just a matter of what it is and how it's interpreted.
It could all be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, really, I just think. I mean, we covered it pretty well. I don't know what else more is to say about it.
All right, cool. Well, you know what? There you have it. Thank y'all so very much for joining us for the Kryptonaut Podcast presents Evil Science and Magic Buddies. Listener stories. This is part 7. Thank y'all for those stories. Keep them coming in. KryptonautPodcast@gmail.com. Eventually, we are going to be going back to our regular researched format when we get together again. That will be happening soon. Hopefully, the end and or mid of July, depending on our local COVID numbers and schedules. So that's the top of the pops for that. There's that.
Wow.
We keep saying it every fucking week.
I know we do every
just
time.
gonna see what happens.
Kasem presents.
Yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. So
We'll do it. We'll
real
get
quick
there.
here.
But these, before you say it, just before you say that, I know we got to do our hellish space. These stories are fucking great. Like, it's not even me wanting to be lazy. You know, I love my research and doing my shit. It is that we really been getting a lot of fascinating stories for you guys and from you guys. And thank you so much, because it's helped us get through this part of it. And a lot of these accounts are, like I say, fascinating. And the beautiful thing is they're truly unique. I mean, they're not out there in the public. So we're disseminating new information for researchers and things. And I also want to add this for other podcasters out there, or anyone that wants to hide their drinking habit. I've discovered, after being chastised by Mark many times for my ice cube habit with my bourbon, that if you use frozen fruit, it is the silent icy sipper. Tonight's blend was peaches and blackberries, and I got to tell you, it's delicious, and then it's a one-man Wapatula party when you're done.
I mean,
yeah.
I am excited that you're eating fruit. Yeah. I think that's good. That's good. It's healthy. Yeah, but I mean, you're just wapatooling yourself into oblivion.
Well, I was going to drink the bourbon anyway, but now it's not clinky and weird. It's the silent killer. It's like high blood pressure, but it tastes good.
Just partake in the fruit, in the vegetables. Partake in them without the bourbon. That's all.
You know, I don't just use it as a cooler.
Why would you do that?
This week's cooler was just California medley. Nothing fancy.
All right. Well, you know, I've been sipping on some Genesee Ruby Red Kolsch's over here.
Oh, you went back to the Kolsch.
Oh, I did, but I hit the
blues.
red eye. I hit the OG red eye really hard these last couple of days with the kids doing fireworks and just dad out there in my American shirt. Like, I was Kid Rock for 2 days. Like, I was just stomping around the yard going, am an American badass. America, fireworks, beer. That's all I was doing.
America. That should be
really?
the pledge of allegiance. America, fireworks, beer.
America.
Dude, it's hilarious because like
under Mark.
I was talking with Raphael, Raphael Sarmento, the awesome illustrator that did our piece for us, the Mothman art. So I'm talking with him on Instagram as I'm cooking like $200 worth of clams, and then I'm lighting off fireworks and crushing beers and running over to talk to the neighbors and watching fireworks go off, and it was just the most fucking American thing ever. And next year, and I've put this out on Instagram, I'm really hoping this is going to catch on. I'm going to say that we're going to combine Halloween and the 4th of July together, because we need to have pumpkins and fireworks and candy and explosions and beers and cookouts all together at the same time.
My instinct is to debate this, but honestly, I can't. I like it.
Just
I'm
don't.
a fan. I'm there. I'm at your party.
Yeah. Don't debate it. It's going to be Halloween, 4th of July. We're going to fucking cook shit, get fucked up, and blow shit up. So there you go. And hopefully it'll be a good time had by all. So thank you all so very much. Hellerspace.com. Get your merch. It's happening over there. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. Thank y'all to everyone that supports us there. We are going to have some July episodes coming up very soon. We're probably going to do those back to back, so check that out. And again, we mentioned Raphael Sarmento. Holy shit.
The best.
The man is fucking amazing. Check him out. He is on Instagram let me pull up his profile here. It is at Raph Sarmento. He is, if you check our post, he's tagged in there, but he's also on Patreon at patreon.com/Raph Sarmento. Check his artwork out. He's fucking a brilliant artist. It's awesome.
Oh my God, he's so good.
I actually, like, when I told the guys about the piece, and this is a little behind the scenes thing, I like showed them the art, and I'm like, what do we do when the art is better than the show? Like, how do we broach this?
No, I rationalize. If all our purpose is to inspire more talented people than us to do good stuff, then we've done our job. We were a catalyst.
I guess.
We don't need to be as good as the stuff people send us or show us or do.
Even Chris, like, I showed it to Chris, and he was like reevaluating everything. He's like, what do I do? do. I'm like, I don't know what to do
No,
either.
I know. Dude, I'm an artist. How do you think I feel? I'm like, well,
I know.
I've wasted
I didn't wanna...
fucking 47 years. Great.
I didn't want to bring it up. I really didn't want to bring it up. But
No, I mean, what can I do? I'm proud of
Rob's
him.
an artist.
He did a great job. Not anymore. I'm not. Now I'm a piece of shit with a pencil. I got nothing. Thanks, Rob. Great job, man. Way to dishearten him. He's brilliant.
Listen, Robert, to your defense, you drew us with Kiss makeup and it looks good. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
You're fine.
No,
You're fine.
Thank God I'm a writer first and foremost, because good Lord, I just felt spanked. But no, I'm proud
so check
of him.
that
It's
piece
phenomenal.
out.
It's great.
Oh, it honestly, it's been a tough time for us as a podcast with the quarantine and everything. And this was a huge fucking highlight. This was the boost that we needed actually to be like, all right, let's get our shit together again. Because what the fuck? We're over here treading fucking water, and this dude's creating brilliant art.
I wish somebody would independently make a fucking Scooby-Doo-esque comic. I don't even want to be involved with it. I just want to see what our adventures are like through the eyes of somebody else. It'd be great.
Totally. That would be dope. So, thank you again, Raphael. That is fucking so awesome. Thank you so much. There's all of you. There's all the
as great as Raphael is. I got to give a shout out to a good buddy of ours who hooks my face, and I should have done the opening pod, but I just want to say Lisa Hoff is a badass mofo and hooked my face, and she knows what I'm talking about. She is the bestest, and I should have done it at the top of the show, but just thank you to all the people that are fucking good to us. That's all I'm going to say.
She hooked your face as far as with bread and whatnot.
With culinary, no, beyond bread. Oh, well, beyond bread. Just
is she feeding you vegetables and fruit?
Goodness, yes, actually. I had all sorts of tomato basted things. Dude, I'm not dying. Mark, I am not dying. I'm just saying fruits and vegetables are important. Since the beginning of the plague, I promise you, I'm eating
fruits and vegetables are important
every single day.
Chris
it's no longer seasonal. We're going to be around.
Good.
We're doing this for you, buddy.
Good.
But thank you,
so
Lisa.
very much.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mark, for caring, and thank you, Chris, for being you.
Yes, Christopher. Thank you.
Got it.
I want to close this out with saying that this is dedicated to Chris.
Oh,
not in his memory because he's still here with us.
Of course.
But
I'm
just
here.
dedicated to Christopher.
Chris and his UFOs of the mind.
Oh, man.
Keeping it real.
Exactly. All right, there you have it. Thank you so very much, and we will be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Oh, the Instas and the Twitters, we're there. Whatever. Fucking find us. I don't know. Fucking whatever. It's there. It's happening. I don't know, man.
Wow.
This shit's a hellhole,
You don't
but
plug your
whatever.
shit. I know. It's funny.
Yeah, I know. I forgot about it, but find me on Instagram. I can't deal with anything else. I don't have the fucking physical space or emotional fortitude. So we'll be talking.
Bye again.